So we've been talking about the differences between primary and secondary sources, and today we're going to be looking at primary sources. For the do now, I want you guys to think about how are primary sources and secondary sources different, and why is it important to hear stories from multiple points of view. So I'll give you a minute to think about that, and you can talk to an elbow partner.
Are
we discussing or just
discussing?
Primary sources.
To avoid the
Actually, that's a
single story.
They're like direct from
You have a
the.
connection.
first hand?
Yeah, afterward, yeah. And secondary are like.
From the monkey in the middle?
Yeah. Why is it important to hear stories from multiple points of view? Well, I think it kind of talks about, or even like what we talked about this morning in the TED Talk. Like the danger of a single story is because it robs people of dignity, it robs people of like, I don't know, the importance of people's perspectives. Even coming in and having a discussion, like I can learn something from your perspective with hopes of you learning something from mine. And I feel like there would be no gain in knowledge if we only focused on one perspective.
When I think of this, I also think of like when people have car accidents and how they need to record a memory right away before it can get altered by trauma or like discussing it with someone else. And then you also need other people's perspectives, because maybe you thought that you were turning on yellow, but it was actually red already. So maybe someone else saw that it was red and you weren't aware that it was red, so someone else can be like, no, I know that it was red. And then maybe there's another perspective that can kind of
So we're going to wrap up our do now discussions. Does anyone want to share out what they discussed with their partners? What's the difference between primary and secondary sources? Yvonne?
Primary is a first-hand account.
Could be something like a journal.
Yeah, and a secondary source is kind of like the monkey in the middle, just relaying information from another person or place.
A common secondary source we use is textbooks. So they're written way after the fact of the event. So the learning target, can I get a volunteer to read the learning target, please?
Should raise your hand first.
Okay.
I will be able to make an evidence-based claim about a historical event using primary sources.
And can you read the success criteria too, please?
Oh,
It's
yes.
on the right.
I will be able to connect to my prior understanding. I will be able to read a primary source. And I will be able to analyze and discuss the primary source.
Thank you. So we're working towards answering the question, did Pocahontas save John Smith's life? You guys have primary source documents, and you're going to read and annotate those texts. They're not very long, you've done this before, so I don't need to model it for you. But I also want you guys to think about who wrote the source, why did they write it, author's purpose, when was it written, so the time, what is the author's perspective, and is it reliable, why or why not?
Can you tell me a little bit about the text, what they're reading?
Yeah, so both of the primary sources are written by John Smith.
Okay.
One's written way before the other one, and they're very different. They tell different stories. So they're going to be looking at the primary sources and making that connection that they're by the same person,
Okay.
but that they're different.
Okay. Thank you.
Interesting.
Is it an interesting, are they interesting texts?
Well, yeah, so the first one is.
Well, wait.
Huh?
Just yes.
Oh, sorry. Yes, sorry.
She's
yeah.
leading the discussion.
Yes.
I shouldn't have asked, sorry.
Has everyone had a chance to read them, or do we need a couple more minutes? Okay, one more minute. going to move on. So who wrote document A?
John Smith?
Yeah. And who wrote document B?
Also John Smith?
Yeah, so they're both written by John Smith. Did you guys notice the years that they were written in?
Yes.
So what was the first one written in?
1608.
And then the second one? 1624. Did you guys notice similarities and differences between the two texts? You want to share out?
Yeah, in the first text, he has a pleasant experience with the emperor. He gets welcomed. They ask him like, and in the second one, he has a less pleasant experience, and it's he dragged me by my hands and laid my head on stones. So the account seems very different.
Is there someone who's present in the second account who's not present in the first account?
Yes.
Who is it? Yes. So I'm going to hand out a timeline that's going to help us understand the context of these two pieces. So I want you guys to look at the timeline, and you're going to discuss it with your elbow partners. There are some sentence frames to help you guys. I notice, I wonder, what do you think about? I think this because. And I want you to look for the year the primary documents were written on the timeline. So you've got the dates on your primary sources. I want you to find that spot on the timeline. And did anything on the timeline surprise you? Did you learn new information?
Are we doing this with our elbow partner or in a small group?
Either way. I think because our class is small today, we can just do two big groups.
Or are we supposed to talk yet?
Yeah, go ahead.
I thought it was really interesting. So in this little section here, we learned that Pocahontas makes a big media splash in England. That really stood out to me. And then right after she dies, like primary source gone, Smith writes the second book
Right.
about 7 years later. So I'm thinking like, if I was an author, like, and that's like a really popular subject, if I rewrote my story but included more of Pocahontas, like it could make a bigger splash and like I'd get recognized more.
Right.
It's really interesting.
Yeah. It is, and I now genuinely wonder which is more accurate. But there's,
And
since the primary source is dead.
you have to think of what are the ulterior motives that would cause changes
Right.
in either, or just discrepancies in either. And it's like that's a potential one,
Right.
at least.
Well, and also the unreliability of memory,
Yeah, right.
like we talked about earlier.
And also, if Pocahontas cared so much about, wow, I'm failing on his name right now.
John Smith?
Yep, John Smith.
How'd you get that?
Why did Pocahontas marry John Rolfe when she moved to Jamestown? Like, what's up with that?
Also, she was 11 years old when this happened, supposedly, in 1609. Kind of weird. I don't
And
know.
she can intervene that way, in that sort of situation and save his life? Is that
It's just, yeah.
Is that historically accurate? That
Yeah.
she could have done something like
That
that?
she would have that
Power?
Power.
I don't know.
Maybe
Was
she was too young to stomach violence.
Although she was the king's daughter,
Right.
so maybe she would.
She would have
I'm
power.
noticing that she died at 20.
She died at what?
She was 20
But-
when she died.
What do you think she died from at 20? That's pretty young to die.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
Dysentery.
Well, what happened right before she died?
Oh, she's captured and brought to
Wait,
Jamestown.
no, that was 13. They got married in 14.
She
Chilled
becomes,
childbirth.
she becomes a media sensation.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
So they start to use her as like a sideshow almost.
She is a celebrity.
Yeah.
It says in 1616 that they set sail for England, so she comes to a whole new place. What do you think happened to her?
Smallpox.
Could be, yeah. We're connecting prior knowledge. We talked about how a lot of Native Americans died from colonists' diseases that they brought with them. So she goes to a whole new place. She might encounter something that she hasn't before. So I heard some really good discussion. The big thing that I heard you guys point out is that the first account that he wrote was more positive, and that Pocahontas was 11 years old at that time. And then the second account that he wrote, was written after Pocahontas died and after she became really popular. So I want you guys to look at the questions that are attached to your primary source document, and using the information you've looked at from the timeline and the 2 primary sources, I want you to answer these questions. And this is an activity that you can talk in your groups with.
Also, he uses the king and the emperor interchangeably. Are they the same person?
Yeah, I think so, but
They are.
those are very different things. I noticed that too.
Also, you know about the different names.
Yeah, village is the lady.
Yeah.
Is that?
Associated
I drank
with
literally.
England.
uh,
I definitely
Because
think
it
king,
was
so I feel like
Marrow
the emperor
Nokomoto.
sounds like
Then
someone
it
else
changes
getting
to
thrown into the story.
Marrow Nokomoto, which is like,
Could be the Marrow thing. It
It's
could
just
be,
directly copied from the source.
could be a colonization thing, although I don't.
Yeah, maybe they
know.
changed this stuff.
Right.
Maybe they,
white man ignorance thing.
could also be that. It is likely that.
I feel like the general history is more specific in how she influenced his life, or how the actions. Yeah. She's not even mentioned in the first
I sell more books. Pocahontas is a hot topic.
So the general history
Is that in the primary source?
is more specific in
Does that come
details,
through?
No.
whereas the first one is more broad.
Sorry,
Doesn't mess with the
teacher.
name of Mayor Locomoco. Why
Smith
wouldn't
at
he lie?
For making of monies.
Why wouldn't Smith lie about the story? Why wouldn't he? I don't know, he would, he did.
The group is louder than you are.
I'm interested in their conversation.
Me too.
How do you know?
It's a huge difference, but great inference.
To make it more interesting,
I mean,
to
if
make more
he's.
money, to draw in
How old
more
is he when
people
this
into his
happened?
story,
We don't
making
know.
more money.
Maybe he
It's money.
writes, you know.
Stories mean money
the- the
sometimes.
book he
Yeah.
wrote in
Especially since
1624
like
when he's
that was
80
when,
cents,
I know she's a
or
celebrity
whatever
now,
the
or
equivalent
she
is,
died, but
and his memory has changed.
I don't know, maybe that adds something to it.
In